Hi, good morning, everyone. Yeah, that was kind of I had to change my office because my Wi-Fi wasn't getting enough signal to get me in here, but I'm glad I made it on time. Excited to be with you today for another Monday Mindset. And we're going to be talking about, as we're going into 2026, we're starting to kind of put our goals together and put the game plan, the blueprint of what success looks like for 2026. And we're going to spend some time talking about the belief, planning, and more so the execution part of that process. And this is one of those things for me that I've learned over time that while the belief and the planning are definitely, two key foundational pieces to you having success. Ultimately, it comes down to the ability to execute and then to do it in a way where you're consistent and you're doing it over and over again over time, because it is over the small manageable pieces of doing those things over and over again that truly create the success for you. So I'm going to share my screen here and let's get this opened up. And if you can just tell me, do you see the power of habits and how to execute? Okay, thank you. All right, so we're going to go through really breaking down more so habits and taking yourself through a process. And this is something that you should be looking to do for yourself these next, 6 weeks of 2025, and really get them implemented even before 2026, and putting yourself in a position to find the routines. If you think about, we're going to talk about some of the routines that we do now, and have done them for so long that we just kind of do them unconsciously. But first and foremost, I want to go through the core to being able to do each one of these. Is it comes down to first having the belief, and the belief is number one in yourself. It's going to be belief in the plan that you put together. A part of the belief in yourself is really coming down to, who are you reading? Who are you, who's your mentor? Who are you listening to? What are the daily activities that you're doing to get better in regards to having more belief in the things that you can accomplish in your towards your goals, but in your daily activity as well. So again, the belief aspect, and we've talked, Monday Mindset, a big part of it that I discussed over this past year has been, unlimited belief in yourself. And what I constantly run into with people is limited belief. So we have to break through those barriers of having unlimited belief in the things that we can achieve. And then the plan aspect of it is really the roadmap or the blueprint that's going to help you to get from where you currently are to where it is that you want to be, the destination that you're trying to get to. I have a system that I use. It's called GPS. It's goals, plan, system. And when someone gives me their goals, I can show them how many people, if it's a financial goal in regards to their real estate business, I know how many people they need to close, how many transactions they need to close over the course of the year. And then with that, we take that and we put it into a system, and it's really utilizing that system and creating the habits that are required for that system to be able to work for you successfully. And so we're going to kind of tap into those, and that's where the execution comes into play. So again, with the plan, one of the things that I always suggest is if you're doing your strategy sessions and you're figuring out what goals that you want for 2026, and you should be sitting down with people that have already achieved where you're trying to go, and just ask them the questions. What did you do to be able to do the things that you were able to do you know, 10 years ago to create the success that you've had in your business. And hopefully they're open to sharing the different things that they put in place to be able to create success for themselves. And you create a blueprint around something that is already working. One of my favorite quotes from Tony Robbins is, if you want to be successful, go out, find people that have achieved the things that you want and copy what they do until you achieve the same results. And that's the thing that I think a lot of times we want to reinvent the wheel to create success, and we want to try and do it all from within instead of looking externally at what other people have used to be able to create success for themselves that has allowed them to be able to grow to a certain level. And I can tell you, once I understood that quote and embraced it, it's probably been, I don't know, 12, 15 years now. That's all I do. And when I realize that, okay, I'm embarking on something that I've never done before, but let me find some people that have that are willing to share their game plan, their blueprint of what they were able to do to achieve that. And then that final piece comes down to the execution. And the execution, honestly, a lot of times can be the area where we get stuck again, because when we talk about the going back to belief for a second, when we talk about the mental foundation, these are the things that are going to this is where it raises the confidence, it raises your the fearlessness, and it removes fear out of the way, of you being able to know, okay, the level of belief is raising, so I'm putting aside anything that makes me feel like I can't do this. And a big part of that is, once again, it's who you're listening to, who you're reading, who your mentors are, and then the thoughts that you're rehearsing and reinforcing on a daily basis. This is something that you don't go through a mindset training or a program one time and then expect that belief is embedded. No, it's a constant. You're always working on, establishing, reestablishing belief for yourself. Again, as we talk about the importance of the planning, it's giving you clarity on how you're going to achieve a goal. Just for instance, one of the things that I do in one of the trainings that I put on is when an agent tells me that they want to, do 250,000 in GCI. I have a model that I put it in, and I do, and it's very conservative. I use a $10,000 commission for every deal that they close. I know that, being in Colorado, that those commissions are probably going to be a lot more than $10,000. But it gives me simple math. If I say, okay, you want 250,000 GCI, that's 25 transactions that you have to close. So now I'm not focused on the GCI, the 250. I'm focused on 25 transactions because that's where we need to get to. If we get there in 22 transactions because their commissions or compensation was higher, then so be it. But I know that we should be able to get there in 25 transactions. And then we start breaking that down. 25 transactions is just a little over 2 deals per month. And then we take it from the 2 deals per month to, okay, how many people do you have in your database that we need to be in front of on a monthly basis? And to be able to get to those, those 25 deals, NAR says that every 7 people in your database, excuse me, every 100 people in your database, 7 of them will buy or sell real estate over this coming year, and another 7 of them will buy or sell real estate next year, and so forth. So that means that if I'm trying to get to 25 transactions, I need to have roughly about 350, 375 people in my database. And then it comes down to what I'm doing to stay in front of those people. And so we break it down, and then we're going to break it down all the way down to the day, and we'll go through that here in a minute. So then, we have that plan. We've broken it down from 25,000 to knowing, how many people we need to talk to over the course of the year, and then we're going to break that down to daily increments. And that's where the execution comes into play. Now, execution, again, if you have built your belief and you have a plan that you also believe in, it seems like the execution should be easy. But a lot of times what happens is we're caught up in the big number of 250,000. That's a number that you've never done in income before. So it's even though you're building the belief, it can become intimidating with trying to achieve that particular number. So as we breaking it down into the small manageable pieces should be able to get us to do something in regards to taking steps. But the key with all of this, the key with execution, because we can execute today, we could execute tomorrow, we could execute Wednesday, but then by Thursday, we're doing something a little bit different. Friday, we're doing something a little bit different. We take the weekend off. Monday, we're on a totally different track. By Tuesday, Wednesday of the following week, we're not even following the plan that we set forth. So we haven't created the consistency. So the execution equals habits to do execution properly. And what I mean by that is having a habit that you're doing every day that you have confidence behind because you got this, either you know that it works because you've done it for yourself, or you have worked with someone that has told you, hey, these are the steps that I did to create success. And you have the belief in their plan that you're going to move forward with doing it. And it truly just comes down to creating the consistency for yourself. One of the things that we're going to talk about is Kaizen. This is a Japanese term that really kind of laid everything out for me in regards to having an understanding of not being overwhelmed when I'm setting a goal for myself. Kaizen, it's actually two words broken down into that one word. Kai meaning change, Zen meaning good. And we use it in Western terms as basically change for the better. And this is a gradual change. By doing so, the whole concept is by doing small, 1% daily changes that over the course of time will have massive results in regards to where it takes you, from from where you're currently at to where you want to be. And it really comes down to, again, it's always keeping in mind that I'm changing constantly. I'm evolving constantly. And am I evolving in a positive way? Am I evolving in a direction that leads me to the goal that I'm trying to get to? And as long as I'm doing it in small, manageable steps, that's okay versus trying. Sometimes people try to take big leaps. They get frustrated because they don't make the leap and they give up. It's kind of the tortoise and the hare concept of, again, we think that if we go fast, if we go hard, if we go much bigger in the front end, that we're going to have greater results. But we can be putting ourselves in a position to have greater challenges. With greater challenges, then our mental fortitude is going to be challenged, and sometimes we can't make it through that. So it's okay to take the tiny steps as long as you're progressing forward. And then the never ending aspect of it is understanding that we are always evolving. And even when you reach the goal that you set for yourself, there should always be a new goal, the next goal that you're trying to achieve for yourself. So kind of having an idea of the never ending aspect of it. This one I want to show with you. This is I was actually in New York a couple of weeks ago, and I got a chance to hear James Clear, the author of Atomic Habits, speak. And this was something that I took away from it that really got me to understand how to grab hold of habits and take a desired outcome that I want and put the right actions around it to create the right habits to be able to reach that outcome. And so he has in essence, a these four components, and he calls it the habit loop. And it's cue, craving, response, and reward. And you know, on each one of them. And we're going to kind of just go through because every one of us already have habits that we do. So I'm going to give you probably one of the most basic that we all probably share here. The first thing that we do in the morning, and typically in some form or fashion, we're making a visit to the bathroom. While it may be to use the restroom, the second step that we typically do is something that has become a habit that we do it so much as a habit that we don't even think about it when we do it. And that's usually brush our teeth. So, again, the cue for brushing your teeth was going into the bathroom or seeing the bathroom. It's one of those things of you think about it when you wake up, you don't necessarily wake up, look at the bathroom and think, oh, I need to go put the trash out, or I need to go read the newspaper, grab the newspaper. No, it's usually you're going to first, brush your teeth. Now that the cue itself was just the bathroom, just seeing the bathroom. For instance, if you are a runner and you or you're trying to become a runner and you need to create a cue for yourself to be able to go take a run. The cue may just be having your shoes close to the door. It's a reminder, it's a cue that tells you of the thing that you told yourself that you're going to do. And the craving part of that is the desired piece, the thing that you desire from it. So let's go back to brushing your teeth. The craving is not brushing your teeth itself. The craving is to have a fresh breath at the start of your day. It's kind of the first thing, the first accomplishment that you could be doing for your day is just having a fresh breath, and then the response is the actual activity of brushing your teeth. So obviously, because we have done this, we were conditioned to do this as children. It has obviously become easy. But think about, if we take that, you're trying to create a new habit for yourself, and that habit is to go outside and run. We've made the cue of putting the shoes by the door. The craving will eventually come. The craving is not going on the run. It's the satisfaction, the feeling that comes with knowing once I finish that run, there's a sense of accomplishment. There's a sense of better health. All these different things that those are the things that you crave from doing the action, and then making the response. You want to make it easy. So if this, let's say it's day one. Let's say it's if you're a New Year's resolution person and you wait till January 1st and you say January 1st I'm going to start running, but I haven't run in 10 years. Well, you can't go out and expect that you're going to run a 5K. You may not even run a mile. Maybe it's just running around the block. I can tell you anytime, especially from a workout standpoint, anytime I'm getting back into something I haven't done for a while, or if I'm doing something that I've never done, my personal thing is I like to push myself to where just to go as far as I can, or as long as I can, or lift as much as I can until it hurts for me. And then I usually push a little bit further through the pain for myself. But I track how far did I go? How much did I lift? And then I may stay at that place for 3, 4, 5 days. I may stay there for a week. But then the next step for me is to go, because now I know where I can go. I continue to get there, but then the goal is the following week or the following 3 days, go a little bit further. And then I go, same thing. I create a new plateau and I stay there for a short period of time, go a little bit further. And this is the exact same thing that you can do. We'll kind of sum this up with your real estate business. You can, again, if you have the cue of your having your laptop somewhere where it's available to you, and the following night you set your laptop up or you set your phone up where it is already on your database. So it gives you right there the task of, okay, I need to call, let's say 5 people. So we're going to make it easy. We're not going to, we know that you got 350 in your database, but you're not going to call 350 today. We're just going to reach out and touch five personally, make phone calls, small manageable pieces, making it easy. And then the reward is just like when you take that run, you put the shoes on, you desire to feel that sense of accomplishment, you make it easy, you do something that you haven't done in a while or ever, and then you have that sense of accomplishment from it. There's the level of satisfaction that comes with it. And if you guys work out, if you've gone through, exercises like this, you can remember, that sense of satisfaction when you finished it and you're like, that feels great. That's the thing that you want to continue to crave. And so that's where you create the habit, because you can do that one time, feel great about it, and then not go back and revisit. You're not creating the habit around it. But once you've created, they talk about a 21-day habit. Once you've created that 21-day habit, it is going to feel weird not to do those things. You're going to feel off if you're not doing those things. So if you get to a point where you're making just five phone calls a day to your database, because again, you have the bigger goal, but you're taking this in small manageable pieces by just talking to five. Over the course of time, if day 22 came, it is likely that if you thought to yourself, well, I'm not going to do it today, it's going to feel off to you. Your whole day is going to be a little bit off because of not, creating the habit around that. Let's see the slide to, there we go. Okay, so again, just some of the talking points I took away from the event that I was at, and actually now starting to get a little deeper into atomic habits, is some of these areas. And one of the things that we want to understand is that when we're setting a goal for ourselves, especially when it's a monetary goal, it's not about the dollar amount. It's not about the reward of what that creates. It's not even about necessarily the satisfaction, but when you create new habits for yourself, you are becoming a different version of yourself. And this can be good or bad. There are bad habits that we can get into that will create a worse version of yourself. I mean, I think, from a standpoint, there are things that we do from a health standpoint. There's things that we do from a nutritional standpoint that may not necessarily be good habits. And over the course of time, will have a negative effect on us. But same thing, there are good things you can do from a health and nutritional standpoint that are good habits that are in later in life is going to be a benefit to you. But it's the same thing in your business. So it's about becoming, if you're doing 250,000 a year GCI, you're probably, in the top 1%, in the country, especially, the state of where the industry is right now, and how many closings are happening on average. So you're becoming a top producer. Um, just by, attaining this particular goal that you have. And as a top producer, it's going to, again, it's going to put you in different rooms. It's going to put you around people that are doing 50 and 100 deals a year. And it may get you into an environment where you're like, okay, 25 deals, that was great, but man, I think I'm thinking small. I think there's much bigger things for me to be able to attain. And that's one thing I love about the company that we have here at EXP is that it puts you in different rooms all the time. It puts you in rooms to be able to challenge yourself on a constant basis. So keeping that in mind, for yourself, and then always looking to evolve is going to be an important piece of it. The habit loop. This is one of those areas where, like I said, this is something I'm still studying myself. But if you're looking to learn more, I would definitely read or listen to Atomic Habits. James Clear goes over the cue, craving, response, reward, and mastering that cycle, getting a stronger understanding of how you can apply this to so many different aspects, not just your real estate business, but from a health standpoint, from a nutrition standpoint, from your relationships, all the different areas in life that you can help yourself get better by utilizing steps like this. And then make the habits easy. I think, just as I said a minute ago, if you've never, you're starting to run again, you want to run 5Ks by the end of the year or by the summer, start with one time around the block. If that feels good, keep going. Make it two times around the block. If two times is kind of where the threshold is at this point, then great, because that was more than you did the day before. That was more than you did last year. And build off of that. So make it easy, because the things that are easy we'll continue to do. The things that we make that are difficult we'll stop doing. So again, make it easy and then just build on top of it. Your environment shapes your behavior. So structure your surroundings, support the habits that you want. And, again, that comes for me, that's a big part is nutrition. And, when a big part of my structure was having a wife that's vegan and gluten free. I do still eat meat, but I can tell you I eat a lot more. I'm a lot healthier in what I eat now versus before I met her. Because again, I'm in an environment where someone is telling me, hey, that is not the right move for you today. And it's still a work in progress. That's something that is a constant, for me. But again, I'm more conscious of it now than I was, say, 10 years ago. And then understanding that the small gains will result into massive outcomes for you, because it's compounding, and that's one of the things that you have to understand in things that we do. When you continue to be consistent with those things, it's like the momentum. If you had a small flake of snow that started rolling down a hill, and it starts collecting other flakes of snow. Eventually, it becomes a snowball, and then it becomes a much bigger, snowball as it continues down the hill. So as you continue to create momentum for yourself, you're going to find that the things that you're doing now have become easier, and then that's where again, you take up to the next step, to increasing. So I'll close out with this actionable steps for building habits in 26. Like I said, start small. If you start small, it will be easy. If it's easy, you'll continue to do it. And if you realize that, okay, once I got to a certain point where it's easy, let me take it up a notch. Let me do a little bit more. So instead of doing those 5 calls a day, you're doing 7 calls a day. And then once 7 becomes easy, you're doing 10 calls a day. And when you start looking at over the course, let's say you're doing 10 calls a day, That's 50 calls, 50 people that you're touching on a weekly basis. That's 200 people that you're touching on a monthly basis. It's 2,400 people that you're touching on an annual basis. That's 2,400, and a lot of times, if you only got 350 in your database, that means those 350 are getting touched multiple times. And that is going to be the difference maker in regards to who's doing business with you in 2026 versus who did business with you this year and years in past. Habit stacking, attach new habits, existing routines for, the automatic execution. So again, once, just like as I'm saying to increase, you can also add other habits. So maybe, I know Sonia is on here. Sonia is really good at writing thank you notes to people. Again, you have a meeting with someone, send them a thank you note. Maybe drop a $5 Starbucks card in there. Create a new habit around, being able to set yourself apart, from the masses. Tracking your progress. This is a key piece. One of the things that I do in my training is we have a tracking system, because I think if you don't track, if you don't know what your numbers are week to week, you can think that you're having really good weeks and you can slowly be declining. But if you're not tracking the numbers, you're not able to see that. And so by failing to track those numbers, I mean, it's almost not worth doing all the work if you're not tracking your numbers on a weekly basis. And then celebrate the wins, and celebrate the small wins. Again, if you have your first week of making the 5 calls a day, at the end of that week, celebrate. It doesn't have to be anything big. It could be a glass of wine if that's what you're into. If it could be, a special cup of coffee if you're a coffee drinker. Just celebrate the wins to recognize your accomplishment. And then remove obstacles, eliminate the friction that creates resistance to your habits. And once again, that's going to be by making the habit easier on the front end and building your way up. And that goes right into the last one, daily 1% improvement. Just continuing to get a little bit better, on a daily basis, on a weekly basis of building towards your goal. All right. So again, this is, like I said, what I put it into place for myself. I'm hoping that this was helpful for you in regards to understanding, again, the power of just the small, manageable steps and how they can have massive results over time. As you continue to do these things for yourself, you're going to see the results. I have people that are on here that are part of the training that I've been doing. And that's exactly what's happened over a 12-week period. They've gone from a certain level of business to a more increased business that they're seeing for themselves. So I want to thank you guys. Hopefully this is a great start to your Monday, and looking forward to hearing back from you on any feedback, any aha moments with this as well. Thanks everyone, and you have a great rest of your day. Take care.
If you'd like more information or to get connected to the Agent Power Huddle, join our free Facebook group. This call was designed for the agents in our EXP organization, but open to any agent from any brokerage. If you're a guest and you're interested in learning more about EXP or our specific resources within the Agent Collective, reach out to the person who invited you to this call to get more info. Produced by the Agent Collective Media Network.